Billy.
That's just my game.
I'll make you famous.
Hey, so I was walking through this comic shop, this place called the Nerd Store in this mall that I go to. I've basically kind of made it a trip that I do every other weekend when I don't have my kids. I, got the weekend to myself, so I better entertain myself if I got nothing else to do. So I drive to this mall. It's about a half-hour drive, 45-minute drive to get there, but it's a store that's got all kinds of stuff. Just this wall of brand new comics and then all kinds of stuff, like just loaded up with stuff rather than the small shop just around the corner where I get my holds from. So I drive out there and just see what's there. And I've heard of this book. I've seen the title, The Dirt Beneath the Devil. And I saw it, and it's a Dan Panosian written story with art by other folks. And I was like, oh, that might be interesting. I might have to give it a shot. And then so I was just walking by, and I didn't pay attention to the title on this. I'm just kind of looking at the covers. And my gaze kind of passed by this. And I come back. I was like, that looks familiar. Not the image itself, but the art style. I couldn't immediately identify it until I got right down here in the bottom. It's Travis Charest. I'll review anything that he draws. I wish he drew the whole thing. No disrespect meant to the guys who drew the book. They did certainly a fine job. But I just want to see Travis Charest draw anything. But as they do, the whole name of the game these days in comics is variant covers. And you get Travis Charest. So it's a Western. There's an old-timey building. There's a central female figure, got a gun in her hand, holding up a torch. And this awesome-looking horse. This glowing eye. I'm like, that's creepy. I love the image. It looks awesome. But I was kind of interested. I'm like, a Western. I have no specific love or interest in Westerns as a concept specifically, but there's a lot of media that I've enjoyed with Westerns. And I can think of several movies. One of my favorites, Young Guns 2. Not necessarily the first one. That one's kind of fine. But Young Guns 2, I love that shit. Tombstone. Love that movie. Dances with Wolves, stuff like that. There's a lot of the classics that I haven't watched. But the point is, I like the idea. Also, I've played, a lot of us have played Red Dead Redemption 2. Specifically, I never played the first one, but I played the shit out of the second one. And holy shit, is that an immersive game. It makes you feel like you're there. And the way you can modify your character's look and just go exploring this vast country. You don't even have to play the missions the game puts you on. You can just go explore. There's wintry mountains. There's deserty, harsh, sand dune type areas. There's forests everywhere. There's old towns. There's a giant city that's kind of appropriate to the late 1800s. It's crazy how immersive it is. And that specifically kind of reinvigorated my interest in Westerns a little bit ago. And also my youngest son has suddenly shown himself to be a little bit of a cowboy in spirit. He's played the Red Dead Redemption 2 game and he loves it. I fucking lost my train of thought. Westerns as an idea. It's not anything that I'm specifically intentionally interested in, but you tell the right kind of story. I don't care. I'm like, take me in a movie, a TV show, a video game, a comic book, and get me immersed in that world. Make me feel like what it's like to live then, the harsh conditions. Sometimes we kind of romanticize it, kind of forgetting the harsh conditions it's really like to live in that kind of world. Whatever. So I was like, how is this going to go? I was like, what am I going to feel about this book? Now, this is Mad Cave Comics. I don't know who that is. And I just kind of, because I'm dumb, I just kind of assumed this would be printed by Image Comics, because why the fuck? I don't know. But whatever Mad Cave Comics is, that's awesome. The Dirt Beneath the Devil, writer and logo, Dan Panosian. So there you go. Artist is David Ferracci. I think I'm saying that name right. The artist and the colorist is no one I've ever heard of, so I don't know. There's variant covers by Dan Panosian himself, of course, Jacob Phillips, Mark Chiarello, Becky Clunan, and then Travis Charay. So anyway, I was like, is this going to keep my attention? Because, and as I flipped through it first, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of text, and it's got kind of a cartoony art style. Somewhat. It leans more into like a cartoony aesthetic. I don't think that anybody would deny that, but I kind of would think that a more realistic art style might fit a Western. More like I was going to say more like a Dan Panosian art, but I just want to see Dan Panosian draw anything he does. I want to see that. But I was like, all right, well, we'll see. Old West Town, Kansas City, Missouri, 1891, the Benjamin Hotel. There's a town, it's raining, and there's text. Now, this text is all from the perspective of this girl here, talking about how pneumonia killed her mom, but her mom was strong, especially because she survived her father, not the daughter here. She's talking about how the mom was strong because the mom survived her husband, her father. And but the mom did die before he did. And so it goes on to, so we are Cloven, chapter 1. She's coming to a town. She's bringing a giant case. And so the text is explaining that father was a scoundrel, a crook, a ne'er-do-well, not a great guy. And she's never met him and doesn't want to know him. But he's died recently, and he's left a will. And so all related family members are coming to this place to find out what's left in this man's will. That is kind of the setup here. Says, when a letter arrived 2 weeks ago regarding my father's will, I decided I would use whatever he had left me to honor her wishes and finish school to become a doctor, referring to the girl's dead mom's wishes for her to become a doctor, go to school. But she says, but I'm not the only heir to my father's fortune. Several of us are meeting here to make our way up to his ranch home. There's to be a division of funds and various predetermined requirements before such funds can be distributed. Undisclosed requirements. So he's left a will, and these things need to happen before my estate can be distributed amongst my family. So she runs into this guy, and he's trying to be charming to her, and she thinks it's kind of nice, but she's like, I've never traveled anywhere. This is the first time out of a city. But they're like, all right, well, I'm the executor of your father's will. Go ahead and, get settled in your room. We're going to have a meal a little bit later. You're going to have to learn to ride a horse, which she's kind of freaked out about. And the guy's like, don't worry about it. The horse does all the work. It's no big deal. But in this case, your father was very specific. He even handpicked the horse for you. And so the girl's like, all right, so the cookhouse across the street, I'll be there shortly. He's like, yep, we're all going to have a meal. We'll kind of discuss what's going on. The girl looks outside and sees a couple of men down there. And again, I have to say, I appreciate Dan Panosian's writing. He's not cramming it full of dialogue boxes telling us what we're supposed to know or what we're supposed to feel or explain to us. Just let the visuals tell us. She looks out the window, and these guys are looking and talking about something. She shuts the drapes, sets herself up, goes down, and then goes into a room where there's all a bunch of people here. Well, they're like, the executor of the will of her late father's estate, he's like, okay, everyone sit down. We need to discuss our travel plans of what's going to happen. So everyone have a seat. So this was the current wife of the father. I guess he left the other girl's mom and then remarried this guy or this girl. And then this girl had a son here, which makes him the main girl's like half brother. Or step brother, it says. Sorry. This is Martha Nail and her son, August, your father's beloved widow and your stepbrother. I don't believe you've ever met before. And the guy's like, scrawny like the photograph of her. And then there's Peter Bickers and Thomas Mash, business associates of your father. And he's like, Tennessee Pete, ma'am, it's a real pleasure. And the other guy's like, pleasure to meet you. Now, these two guys are the ones who are outside the window talking. And then over there is like a Native American woman and a kid. And the guy, he's like, this is Kima and her son Billy, named after your father with, how shall I say this, with good reason. So implied that scummy father had a child with this girl, and that's the son. So that would make this guy potentially her half-brother. So you're setting up the dynamics. She's like, all right, it's good to meet you all. So the guy's like, all right, well then we got to get to it tomorrow morning. We have to make a journey. It shouldn't take more than blah, blah, blah. And the lady, the widow, she's like, aren't you going to read the will? And the guy says, well, as the executor of your will of William Buckley's estate, your late husband left detailed instructions for me to carry out on his behalf. The full will and testament won't be disclosed until we reach Wichita. He insisted we all ride together and perhaps get to know each other a bit better. The transcript doesn't specify his reasons why. He does love a bit of a mystery. And this guy's here like, he loved mysteries and the ladies. Yeah. So the will is stated like, we have to travel to this place before you can find out what the will is going to leave you. So, they sit there, they have a final meal, and everyone's kind of looking at each other. There's a bunch of suspicious looks, and the poor girl, the innocent girl, is just kind of looking around herself. And she goes on to describe here the girl. She says, my mother often told me that the devil wears the same smile as the saint. When I was young, I didn't quite know what she meant. As I got older, I realized she was teaching me how to protect myself, how to study people, what to look for. The devil is always lurking in the shadows, even when you can't see him. So I'm like, okay, so she's smart enough to understand that she needs to observe her surroundings, that people are probably not looking out for her best interest, if being honest. So the next morning, they're out, and they're all getting ready, getting together, and they're like, all right, you're just in time. The guy's bringing the horses ready. Well, actually, your horse specifically. The girl was told that, they said that your father left a will that this very specific horse is the one you need to ride. And they're dragging him out. They're like, he's being a bit stubborn today, spirited, like your father. And so I'm going to give you what my mind immediately went to. I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't know. I have not investigated this. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's been stated. But the father's dead. And the way it's kind of portrayed visually and the dialogue here, they're bringing out this horse very specifically for this girl. And they're saying, he's being a bit stubborn today, spirited, like your father. I'm like, what if her father's spirit's in this fucking horse? That was my thought. I have no idea if that's what they're implying. I feel like that's where my mind went immediately. So I feel like it's a valid thought. But I don't know. I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just telling you what I thought when I read this. So the girl's like, I don't know how to ride a horse, and this monster looks kind of dangerous and scary. Are you sure this is a good idea? And so you cut to the guy wrangling the horse, and it's like up on its back legs, big, strong beast, right? And the girl's freaking out. It's like, you can't expect me to ride this. His name is Hendido, I guess. I don't know what that means. I'm sure there must be a reason or a meaning behind it. I don't know what that is. But Hendido can be a real handful, but I'm sure he'll settle down in a minute or two. Besides, no one besides Mr. Buckley, meaning her father, ever rode this horse. And this scumball, the stepbrother, he's like, sometimes a horse like that just needs to know who's boss. My father taught me that. So the old man trying to wrangle the horse gets knocked to his ass. So stepbrother goes out there with, I don't know what those things in his hands are called, but like they'd whip the horses to kind of get him to giddy up. He's going out there with it, and he's going to hit the horse, and the horse stops, and they do a focus on the horse's eyes with this intense look, and it made me stop and go back to the cover with the intense eye. I'm like, all right, there's obviously something about this horse. which I like. I'm into. Intense look on the horse's eye. He rears up, and I love this shot. That's a beautiful drawing of that animal. That looks great. But the horse rears up and stomps, knocking the guy back, like not hitting him. It doesn't imply it hits him, but the guy just jumps back, hits the fence, breaks his arm. Like it's like the horse implied this horse broke his arm. Didn't touch him, but made it happen. And the guy's pissed, and they keep trying to wrangle the horse. But then the girl herself, she comes along, she looks, she reaches her hands out, and then suddenly that intense look in the horse's eye subsides, honestly. Back to her eye, back to the horse's eye, and the reflection, you see her. And again, there's no dialogue boxes telling us anything. Thank fucking Christ. It's just the look on her face, and you have to infer from the visuals what you think is going on. But it almost like she made a connection. Like she sees something is what I read. And the horse suddenly is calm. They're like, what? He stopped. What happened? The guy's like, he just looked at the girl and stopped. They're like, easy now, steady. It's like the horse just kind of walks up to the girl. And the wrangler, he's like, should I? And the guy's like, it's okay. I think it's okay. And the horse walks up. And again, these intense looks that were in this horse's eyes, in every panel that you saw him in, the intensity in the horse's body language and his eyes, it's now calm. Like the eyes kind of half closed. He's calm looking at her. The guy, the stepbrother, he's like, fucking horse broke my arm. We got to put it out of its misery. And this other guy, one of the business associates of the dead father, he's like, look at them hooves. You sure that's even a horse? And so it actually made me go back. Now, I don't know much about horses, honestly. But I was like looking at the hooves, and I'm like, is there something that I'm supposed to see? And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to put two and two together. It does say cloven, right? And then I'm like, well, this horse's hooves have the split. Now I'm like, I don't think that that's a normal thing for a horse. Again, I don't know specifics about horses like that. But the title, cloven, and then they even mention it, like, look at his hooves. So I'm like, is that normal? I don't know. If it is, then I'm just embarrassing myself. I'm just thinking out loud what I was thinking when I was reading this book originally. Doesn't matter. They think something is weird. They cut to the horse's hooves. I'm like, if the splits in the hooves is supposed to be there, then I don't get what the shocking revelation is to them. If they're not supposed to be there, then that is kind of an interesting, like, I wonder what that means. Anyway, she gets up on the horse and she's kind of nervous, but the guy's like, the horse seems fine. Like, he's never been this calm except when your dead, father would ride him. So I guess everything's okay. So they get up on their horses, all the folk, and they ride off, and the text continues. Now, these aren't text boxes explaining shit like I was just talking about. This is dialogue between the characters, between the girl and the guy who's, the guy who's kind of explaining what we have to do to get this will done. So they're out riding. Stepbrother's pissed off. He feels like he should be in charge. He's like, I'm in charge now. Oh, the guy who died, the father who's dead, he's not here, so I'm in charge. And the girl's like, you're thinking you're in charge just because there's some kind of family relation? Like, his mother was the guy's wife, but he's not actually blood relative. But the girl's like, you think you're in charge? I'm the oldest descendant. Maybe I'm in charge if that's the case. The guy's like, you're in charge? A city girl? That's a hoot. How about that, Temple? And the guy's like, look, I hate to say it, but your father is still in charge until we get to the estate and read the terms of the will. It's a long ride to Wichita. Circumstances out here could change real quick, like the guy's saying, the guy with the broken arms, implying like he's going to be some nefarious douchebag. So they're rolling up. They're going to set up camp. And it's showing that the girl is watching, that the ex-wife and one of the former business associates, they're talking. And then they both are stopping and looking at the girl. It's a great visual thing to show that they're talking about something and then they look at the girl. So she's registering that. She's kind of like putting that in the back of her head like, I don't know. And then I do like how all the horses are kind of tied up down here, but her horse, the mean one, he's up there on the hill, tied to a like a dead tree stump up there. And then one of the other business associates guys, he's like, outdoors ain't like city life, gonna be a cold one tonight, but if you need some warming up, I could be a good neighbor. And the guy's like, that's enough of that sort of talk, Pete. And the guy's like, no, I'm just being cordial. The same offer applies to you, lad. And then we see the horse's feet stomping again, the hooves stomping on the ground again. A little bit later, they got a campfire up. They're talking about how their rations are not that great, but we can make do. Blah, 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 blah. I do love this shot, the silhouette of the horse up here. Like they're intentionally focusing on that animal. And again, it's not a shock at this point, considering he's on the cover and the focus on the horse. Like there's something about this animal. Douchebag stepbrother. He's like, maybe my father's Indian mistress wants a taste of some firewater. Are you thirsty, Kima? I know you're thirsty for some of my father's fortune, right? And they're just quietly sitting off by themselves, keeping to themselves. So this guy's being an asshole to them. And then they all kind of talking, being complete rude. The guy's like, maybe your boy can do a powwow dance around the fire for some more food. Do you like dancing, boy? And they're like, I've never seen that boy talk. He ain't never speak. Maybe we should teach him white man talk. Does he just talk to the squirrels and coyotes? And this other guy's like, I heard him talk once. The boy can talk when he wants to. And again, the mom and the son are just sit there quietly. And so the guy's like, the estate executor guy, he's like, you know what? That's enough. Like, let's just stop. Let's get a call it a night. We got to get a fresh start in the morning. And so stepbrother's just knocking back the booze. He's like, well, I got to finish this bottle and go make some water on my own. So he wanders off, goes up the hill to where the horse is at. And he basically pisses on the fucking horse. He gets some on it. He's like, oh, did I get some on the big bad horse? That's for my arm. You're welcome. The horse stomps its foot as he's still pissing on it. And the guy goes back to his cot. And then there's a silent page of him drinking more, showing the moon, passing time. Other people are asleep. But he keeps drinking, trying to get to sleep. But goddamn it, he's got to piss again. He's like, damn whiskey, so he's got to get his happy ass up again. So for whatever reason, he decides to go back up to that same hill where that horse is tied up. Starts pissing again. And the horse is there. He stomps. Or maybe, I don't know if it's implying that he went back up to where the horse was. He just went off to some place to piss off a cliff, where maybe it's not where the horse was, but as he goes up there to piss, the horse is behind him. When I first read this, I kind of thought that he just went back up to where the horse was, but now I'm reading it, I'm like, well, maybe it's implying that the horse got off it's tied up. The guy turns and looks, and there's the horse's face, kind of snorts at him, scares the guy, and then it was a little bit microscopically unclear, but I'm like, okay, so he fell off the cliff, presumably to his death, and specifically because the horse did this intentionally to kill the guy. And that's the end of the story. So I was like, you know what? You got my attention. I didn't think I'd like a cartoony, more minimalistic-ish art style like this, but it grew on me immensely as I kept reading it. And I do like it. The artist is very talented, obviously. Good coloring. And, for a first issue, it's all set up. I've mentioned before, first issues are a bitch. You have to introduce everybody, explain what they're doing, why they're here, where they're going, what the goals are, while at the same time having something of some kind of like, I was going to say action or something to kind of keep the excitement going besides just talking head stuff. Now, this is mostly just talking head. These are just interactions between people, and it's all set up. There's not much action outside of wrangling the horse. But for me, reading it and kind of putting myself in the mindset of like, I'm thinking of this as like if I was watching a Western movie or a TV show, and the mysterious kind of I'm just kind of assuming that maybe this horse is possessed with the spirit of the father. Now, the father has been described by all accounts as being a horrible human being, but it's kind of being set up like it's making a connection with the innocent, kind of nice, naive daughter. And he just kind of theoretically rubbed out the douchebag stepbrother. So I'm like, evil horse, but is he helping us? Either way, my point is that I'm kind of interested. You got my attention. Like I was saying, I hate to say it, like I was going to say not much happened. Like there was no fighting or anything like that. It's a comic book. You're like, where's the punching and where's the lizard men and where's the hot naked girls? But it's a Western and there's setup. It's all set up. But we got a clear understanding of who everyone is and who they are, and a basic understanding of their character. We got an understanding of the special kind of nature of this animal, of something. We don't know what it is, just something. And they're on a journey to go somewhere, and it ends with the death of a douchebag. And then I did look at this cover, number 2, by Panosian. Of course, his art's fantastic. And then I was like, well, wait, hold on. I was like, all right, But then I was like, wait, there, I up there, maybe too. And it's like crying. Is it blood that it's crying? 3 eyes. Like at a glance, I was like, there's the girl, there's the horse. But I'm like, and like this is a side view of the horse's head. We're not looking at the horse's head straight on. We can see each one of its eyes on the side. This is the side. And there should be 1 eye. So weird. But it kind of gets into the creepiness of it all, which I'm like, okay, that you kind of got my attention. So I think I'm probably going to be wanting to pick up book 2. I was surprised. I wasn't sure because when I see Dan Panosian's name, I'm like, all right, I want to get this because if he draws it, I'm into it. I'm like, oh, he only wrote it. He didn't draw it. I'm art first kind of fella. But you know what? The art has won me over. It's really good. And the story's got me interested. And I'm kind of ready to go on to another Western. What's the word I'm looking for? Where it's like got not mythological, but mysterious, like spirits. And there's a otherworldly kind of nature to what's going on. Like the dead, the afterlife kind of thing. Something like that's going on. And I'm like, that's kind of an interesting concept to add into a Western. Kind of like a, afterlife horror kind of vibe. You got my attention. And then there's a backup story for another comic that's coming out, the Lazarus Order, set back in like, it looks like, I don't know if it's supposed to be set in like England or like America in its early days. Cause I know these guys, I don't know the exact story, but like guys that would be sent out to treat medically or something like that, would wear these masks that were supposed to kind of protect them from breathing in diseases and stuff. And it's this horrifying looking thing. I kind of just know about it a little bit. I think they were talking about like rats spreading plague. And so these guys would wear these masks, something like that. I don't know exactly. I only have like a vague kind of understanding of it, but there's a preview for a comic based on that, some kind of story in that kind of setting. A lot of extreme, like low angles looking up and kind of distorted perspective. It's pretty interesting. And then a bunch of other books from this Mad Cave Publishing, which I don't know what they are, but that's pretty awesome. I like this shot of the horse. So anyway, it got my attention for sure. And that's what I like. I'm always interested. Like I love comic books for the multiple things they can do for us. I love certain characters forever, and I'm just dying to read another good adventure, another good story of some of my favorite characters I've been reading for 3 or 4 decades. But I'm also interested in finding something new that's a new concept, that's a brand new adventure, and we get in on the ground floor and go on the adventure with them and see what the hell's going to happen. And this one's got my attention. So The Dirt Beneath the Devil, number 1, by Dan Panosian and artist David Faraci. I think I'm saying the name right. But anyway, pretty good stuff. I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm looking forward to see where else it goes. So that's all I've got for this one. So thank you as always. I really, really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one.
I'll make you famous.